Hey, good morning, guys. This is Daniel from the 911 Buddy Chat Project. I hope that y'all are having a phenomenal weekend. It's time for your Sunday sermon. Um, my good man, my brother in arms, Elijah, is preaching a sermon at church today. So I've had some stuff on my mind this week, and kind of to go along with what we talked about on our Facebook Live last night. Uh, Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me." When we talk about, no weapon formed against us, anything and mental health with post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, uh, financial problems, relationship issues will prosper against us as long as you're in the right spiritual state. All right, so we're inherently going to encounter bad things, tribulations, trying times in our life. All right, it's foolish and kind of nonsense to expect that, just because we think we're good people, or, we think we're doing everything right, that we're not going to experience challenges. In emergency services, especially, and with veterans, we're going to see bad stuff. We're going to go through these trying situations. We're going to have our morals tested. We're going to have our courage tested. We're going to, physically be tested, emotionally be tested. But as long as you rely on God's will and God's faith and that plan that we cannot see, no weapon, formed against us will win. And this is, it rings throughout, the Bible. And we need to stop thinking, in the mindset that we're not supposed to go through bad stuff. Like, we're not supposed to have trying times, and we're not supposed to have scars. We need to wear our scars like a badge of honor. It means that you've been somewhere. It means that you've been through something. And not only did you come out the other side, but you survived. And if you have these scars, they're going to teach you something. You're going to be better for it. Instead, we wear scars like a badge of shame. Like it's something to be embarrassed of, or like this like dust cloud, almost like, was it Linus and Charlie Brown? He had that dust cloud around him, and I've said it before. Everybody believes in God until it's time to believe in God. And this is where we really have to be firm rooted in our faith, because if you don't have firm roots, in your soul, in your faith, any storm, any rainstorm or windstorm comes by, you're just going to be blown over, and you're going to topple over. And just like trees in the forest, you're going to start to rot, decay, and compost right back into the ground. So when you are being attacked, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually, or emotionally, instead of, asking why me, ask why not me. A lot of times we pray for a lighter load or an easier road, or, pray for relief and all this stuff. One, we need to pray like it's already been done. God's will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Two, we need to pray, for stronger shoulders, for, better outlooks on life, better perspective. Instead of, this woe is me, this, victim mindset that we tend, to live in. We have to take that warrior's mentality and take up, the David versus Goliath stories that are in the Bible. David didn't cower down from this 9-foot behemoth of a human being. He didn't say, why me? He stood up, faced his tribulations, and conquered them. And we have to do this throughout life. I've taken the victim mindset numerous times in life, more times than I'm, happy to admit. But we can't go through life saying, why me? Poor, pitiful me. Instead of, we need to pray, kind of like we talked about a few weeks ago. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it don't matter if people talk bad about you, if people lie about you, if people, try to hold you accountable for stuff that you did, 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years ago, whatever. Right? It don't matter if you're facing an illness, financial troubles, relationship troubles. Every problem has a solution. All right. Every challenge that we face that creates resistance, that creates growth, teaches us something if we let it. All right. Where we fail as just spiritual beings is if we don't learn from all of these things that we go through. Instead of trying to, figure out how to, avoid pain in our life and avoid tribulations and avoid, just any uncomfortable feelings, we need to figure out and train our mind, body, and spirit to tackle these problems head on in that warrior mentality, and saying that, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And instead of leaning on our own understanding, lean on God's plan, God's will. And I'm not saying that the stuff that we go through, believe me, I've been there. 2016 and 2017 were probably two of the most trying years of my life, trying to stay sober, going through a career change, making a decision to leave one job that just was not serving, my mind, body, and spirit, losing my best friend, Ryan, and Grant within a few months of each other. A few months after that, losing my grandmother, my mom. There was literally one night that, my wife and I were just sitting around just laughing, talking about like, what's next? We were being tested, on every aspect and every avenue in our life, even financially. And there was at one point that both of our cars were broke down in the shop at the same time, a week after, I went through a big job change and took a big pay cut, and I took on, especially after my mom died, I took on that victim mindset, and dealing with regret and pain and anguish and, trying to, in my head, undo the past instead of, by prayer and petition and thanksgiving, and getting on my knees and praying for guidance and wisdom, I got up here. I wasn't leaning on God's understanding, God's will, God's plan. I was leaning on up here. And I lost, a year of my life trying to figure out stuff up here instead of taking a step back, and really focusing on what God was trying to tell me. Because as I tell my clients, you have to be disrupted to be awakened. And I've talked about this before, we have to, when we go to wake somebody up, we go in there and shake them. We disrupt them to wake them up. And we have to be disrupted. These battles we go through, these scars that we have, these are all things that are teaching us something. And you can either learn from it, and kind of like touching a hot stove, that hurts. We don't want to do that again. or we can keep touching a hot stove time after time, day after day, in all situations, and we never learn from it. All right. So you have to figure out where you're being tested in life. You have to figure out what all of this stuff that you're going through, what it's teaching you. All right. I can't tell you what it's teaching you. Only you can figure out what it's teaching you. But if you rely on God's will, God's faith, God's plan, like I said, everybody believes until it's time to believe. And it's human nature that we only turn to our beliefs when everything's bad. We have to do better at staying out of here and staying in our hearts and figuring out, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me right now? All right, what lesson are you trying to learn? Or what lesson are you trying to get me to learn? Teach me something, guide me through this. Don't give me a lighter load, just give me stronger shoulders. Because as resistance, as we go to the gym, we pump iron, do whatever, it builds resistance, breaks us down, and makes us strong. And it's no different than these trials and tribulations in life, or dealing with post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety. It's breaking us down to build us up to be bigger, badder, stronger, faster than we were before. And we've talked about Philippians 4:6. It's recently become probably one of my favorite verses, but it says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, all situations, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving." So we're going to be grateful for everything like we've talked about before. Present your request to God as it's already been done. All right. You're praying as if it's already happened. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. All right. Simple as that. If you don't, if you're not a big Bible reader, and, I recommend, if you're going to have a faith in something, you really need to dive off in it, know why you believe in what you believe in, test what you believe, seek wise counsel, have good people around you. But, if anything, take a few Bible verses, recite, remember them. And when you're going through this stuff, when you're being faced with difficult situations, whether it be changing a job, relationship problems, whatever, financial issues, health problems, instead of saying, why me, say, why not me? All right, because it could always be worse. There's always perspective to everything in life. All right, so when we get out of our heads and get into, our heart, and really open, kind of having that open heart, open mind, and being, just open to whatever challenges that you're presented, just being open-minded, like having compassion, acceptance, love, forgiveness, and empathy for everything, every situation, no matter what, from the guy flipping you off in traffic, to the stack of bills on your kitchen table, to the health problems that you could have a few months down the road. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. My friends, that's the dopest prayer that you'll ever recite. All right. We said it for years in AA, in NA, and it's just one of those things. God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change. But when you really say it and you feel it and you enter it with an open heart, an open mind, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can. We always have the courage. We're not like the cowardly lion in The Wizard of Oz, having to, mosey on this journey to go find some courage. We have the courage in here. All right. We have that courage and the power and the wisdom to know the difference. All right. We have that God-given serenity to accept all this stuff that we cannot change. You're going to see bad stuff. You're going to go through trials and tribulations. But you have to remain steadfast. Have a plan. When life throws stuff at you, don't just sit there, okay, God try to show me something. No, have a plan of action. We have God is a spirit in action and creation. Like he didn't get to where, God is by just sitting there being tepid, just kind of like lackadaisical. No, he wants you to get out and wage war. All right. If you're anxious, pray. If you're confused, pray. If you're upset, pray. If you're angry, pray. If you're lonely, pray. By prayer and petition and thanksgiving, being grateful for whatever situation throws at you. It don't mean you're going to like it, but you're going to learn something. All right. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a great week. If you're working today, hydrate. Got me some good bubbly here. If you haven't tried bubbly, try it. They're not a sponsor yet, but that would be awesome. Reach out. Let us know what you think. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, holler at us. If you need help, 911buddycheck.org. Reach out. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Slowly building our Instagram following up. I stink at Instagram. We've always focused on Facebook, but trying to do a little bit better, be a little bit more diversified. If there's anything that y'all want to see a Sunday sermon on, send it to me, and I'll send it to Brother Elijah, and get him on it, and we'll get weird with some stuff. All right. Make sure to check out the podcast coming up. It'll be published here in a week or so. Doing our first interviews this week. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. So if y'all, like I said, if you're out there working today, be careful, be safe, look out for everybody. Everybody goes home at the end of the shift. As always, you go, I go. Y'all make sure to take care of yourselves, and above all else, be freaking legendary. See y'all next time.